things with
by killing the you become a hero in the Muslim world.
Well, thank you for tuning in. This is Matt Santos of The Mile High Show. You're listening to episode number 186. This week's show was a very, very enjoyable one to record. It is a swap cast with an old friend and a new one, Mr. Bo Woods of longtime Prescott radio fame, and his new business partner, Ron Merrell. They are both hosts of the Ronnie and Bo podcast, the Ronnie and Bo Show. You can find out information on Ronnie and Bo at ronnieandboshow.com, including just announced they will be featured as the morning team on today's Comedy Funny, 1260 a.m. So go to ronnieandboshow.com to find out information on how you can listen to them through Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Spotify, all that, just like you can the Mile High Show, but how you can also hear them on the AM band as well. And they've got some projects coming up. We're going to be doing some co-projects with them, including today's podcast, where I went over to the official Ronnie and Bo Show studios in Prescott Valley and recorded this episode. So we just swapped it. They gave me the file, and I'm going to drop it in as this week's episode. So check out ronnieandboshow.com for info on how you can follow and support their podcast as well as the Mile High Show. Now, we're going to get to that episode in just a few minutes. Again, that's episode 186. A couple of reminders. First off, all of our back episodes are available at milehighshow.com, where you can also use that Amazon link right there at milehighshow.com. And what that doesn't cost you anything extra. You click on that button, that Amazon button at the bottom of our page, and it takes you directly to your Amazon or your Amazon Prime login page. Doesn't cost you anything extra. You then shop away like you normally do, and then Amazon gives us a little kickback for sending you to them. It lets Amazon know you got to your login by way of our page, and they give us a little thank you. So while you're going about your online shopping, you give us a little kickback, and that helps us drive around and meet up with the entertainers and the interesting folks, the musicians, the artists that we talk to each and every week on the Mile High Show. So it's a good way to not only support us, but support those artists and folks that we talk to and get their art out into the internet and the atmosphere. So please use that Amazon link at milehighshow.com as a way to support us. One quick announcement. This show is brought to you this week by Big Daddy E's Barbecue in Chino Valley. BDEBBQ.com is where you can find out information on them, including their every week Friday music program that they have from 5 to 7 p.m. out there on the tiny but mighty stage on the patio. So check out BDEBBQ.com for all the good food and good music that you have come to expect from Eric and his staff over at Big Daddy's Barbecue. A secondary sponsor for today's show is Mark's Beer Garden. You can find out information on Mark's Beer Garden at Facebook under Mark's Beer Garden. Just search that. Let me pull up their address. They are at 1590 Swenson Street in Prescott, Arizona. Now, Mark has opened up this place several months ago and quickly has become one of the biggest supporters of local arts in the area, including music and stand-up comedy and open mic venues and booked shows. That whole patio is becoming the go-to place off Iron Springs to hear great music and have a few laughs. So check out Mark's Beer Garden at 1590 Swenson Street in Prescott, Arizona. Give them a call at 928-515-1044. I've been hanging out there a little bit lately, having a good time stepping up in front of the mic and telling a joke or two, telling a story or two. Not so much stand-up. I'm doing more of storytelling and just having a lot of fun hashing out some ideas. So check out Mark's Beer Garden. They run an open mic on Fridays, but check out their Facebook page for all that info. Now, before we get to the show with Ronnie and Bo, I wanted to... I don't know if you guys have seen this, if you have experienced the issues that I have with Facebook in the last 24 hours or so. But periodically, now I'm the admin of several pages. My own personal page that I use for a lot of writing and hashing out story ideas and things. My photography page under MSP, which is my main source of income. The Mile High Show page. And then a few that I run and I'm an admin on for various clients and customers. Now, so I've got 7 or 8 pages that I'm an admin on. Periodically, when you have a post that's getting a lot of traction, Facebook will give you a suggestion. It'll say, hey, buy an ad. You've got a high-performing post. We suggest you buy an ad. Well, a couple things there. If it's already performing well, why do I need to pay for an ad? I'd never understood that, but that's neither here nor there. I always ignore those, and I have for years. I typically do not buy sponsorship ads on there. I'll just sit there and post them and repost them and share them to different community groups and things. So I have not, even though they're pretty inexpensive, they're like $5 a pop, I just don't do them. I just never have. I've never really explored it. So I ignore those suggestions. Evidently, well, I logged in last night to try and do some stuff, and I was locked out of a bunch of pages that I typically can share to, that I'm an admin on. And after many, many hours of research and searching through various forums and looking through pages and pages of questions, FAQs, and unanswered questions, because evidently Facebook has no way to contact their customers, I found that it appears anyway, this is what I found, if you ignore those suggestions to buy ads enough times, Facebook will automatically change your pages that are not your personal pages, but they're the extra pages that you're an admin on. They will change them to business management pages, which kind of force you into trying to buy ads. It was a big mess. To deactivate those and go back to the original pages that they were listed as took me about 9 hours over the past 12. It was ridiculous. I don't know if this is Skynet taking over, if this is the beginning of how Terminator takes hold of our society. I'm not sure. But this was a nightmare, all apparently automatically generated because I did not want to buy ads. It's kind of a way Facebook forces you over to try and sell ads. And it took forever to revert these back to normal pages. So there's my rant on my anti-Facebook soapbox today. Let's get right to it. This is my talk with Ron Merrell and Bo Woods on the Ronnie and Bo Show that I am now sharing on the Mile High Show as well. Check out RonnieandBoShow.com for all of their archives. Check out MileHighShow.com for all of my archives. And this is my Swapcast with Ron Merrell and Bo Woods, the forces behind the Ronnie and Bo Show.
Was it something that you said to the corporation guys upstairs?
All right, Ronnie, this is going to be a good one. This is a good one because we're not alone. It's not just me and you.
This is another interview episode, and I love this.
This is fantastic. We have Matt Santos right here. I mean, he is. I could reach out and touch him.
I know.
Yeah. That's nice. He has soft hands.
Yeah, and I'm excited that we have an interviewee, because now we get more equipment. We get another microphone. Matt, say hi, please.
Hi. I think that was Ronnie's Me Too moment just now.
That's true.
I feel bad. I feel like a 9-year-old boy with these two baritones on each side of me, man.
You're doing all right. You're hanging in there.
Hi, how are you?
Matt is the host of the Mile High Show, fellow podcaster. He's been at it way longer.
We're going to learn a lot from Matt.
I can't wait to hear. But this is, what's driving me nuts?
What's driving you nuts?
I'm so sick of this social media stuff.
No? Why?
I don't know. Matt, you're all over social media. Are they changing stuff every 5 minutes? Because I swear I had a lucid moment where I was able to post something on Twitter that linked to our Facebook account, and then I wake up today and I can't do any of it.
So Matt, he comes to work today. I call this work, and he says they changed the algorithms again. And I said, nobody's.
I don't even know what that
page
means.
Anyways.
Yeah, which is true.
We think we're going to get 10,000 likes. We're not.
The thing that threw me most recently on Twitter was because I have both followers, my aunt and my cousin. When they switched the notifications from the top to the bottom, and I couldn't find them. And then, you're right. Actually, the automatic post to Facebook from Twitter kicked off.
That's right.
About a week ago. I think it was about a week ago.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, wait, when are we recording this? About 2 weeks ago.
Right, yeah, exactly. Good job. Yeah, that's the thing. I never know if it's me just being stupid and I'm not clicking the right thing, or if they are monkeying with stuff, but it's annoying.
And I'm a kind of an anti-social media kind of guy. I'm on there a lot, posting,
right.
But I'm really bad about actually going on and looking at my walls and stuff. And people are telling me, hey, did you see what I posted the other day? I said, nah, not really. Well, you were on. I saw you posted. Yeah, but I don't really look at anything.
Are you a me monster? Or is it
well, kind of. No. For me, it's work. Even my personal page is all stuff that will either come up in an article, on the podcast, on radio, something like that. I'm not posting things of, you'll very rarely see what I ate for lunch unless I'm going to talk about it on a podcast.
Right.
So to me, all of that stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's all work.
Yeah.
So if I'm not working, I'm not on it. And then
I knew I liked you, man. I knew that was super, super good. We're brothers from another mother.
So the Ronnie and Bo Show brought to you by Prescott Realty. Give them a call today, 928-499-8700. You can also find them on PrescottRealty.com.
That's right. And the thing with them is they are specialists, not generalists. So if you have a heart problem, you're not going to go to a foot doctor.
That's right.
And so they really have these amazing team of specialists that help find exactly what you're looking for, whether it's a lot or a new home or an existing home, or if you're a first-time home buyer.
Commercial real estate,
commercial
they can take care of your needs.
Yep, so give them a call, 928-499-8700.
So what are we doing today, Ron? And we want to learn a lot from Matt, but what do we have to do?
We've got a daily dose today, Bo.
A daily dose
It's been a while since we've done a daily dose, and those are just kind of a nice little warm, fuzzy moment.
Daily Dose brought to you by PrescottClothing.com.
That's right.
So listen, you can join in on this story.
You guys got
Ron
real sponsors and everything.
Oh,
man.
come on!
This is nice.
Come on, you came in today and he drove up in a Cadillac. Don't fall for it for a minute.
Yeah, well, the Cadillac of minivans. It's a Honda Odyssey.
Well, you do have.
I was impressed by the billboard over the building at the
Thank you.
The Ronnie and Bo Studios.
Ronnie and Bo Studios. Yeah. We're going to get that billboard sponsored too.
Exactly. Our daily dose for today is
warm and fuzzy. What do you got?
You know what? Just last week, there's kind of a story that happened back in New Jersey. Some kids getting bullied at school. And this is kind of a normal thing anymore, unfortunately. I mean, there's always been bullies, but it seems like they're on the forefront of the news and whatnot. But in New Jersey, there's these kids that kept getting bullied because they're showing up at school with dirty clothes. And
are these underprivileged kids?
Yeah, I think some of them are, and they've got all sorts of stories. Even some of these kids are actually homeless.
Wow.
And showing up at school, they got dirty clothes that don't smell that good, and they're getting bullied. Kids are making fun of them.
Saying you stink, look at you, you're wearing rags.
Right to their face, all of that. And then even taking photos or, speaking of social media,
they'll
posting
post
stuff,
something on
bullying online now, and this whole deal. Well, then the kids start no-showing.
Sure.
They're missing several days of school because they don't want to be bullied and made fun of, but they literally don't have a way to wash their clothes. So this one girl's coming in, and she's got a backpack that's jammed full of dirty clothes. And the security guard at the school starts hassling her, and she starts screaming because she doesn't want to be exposed. She doesn't want the backpack to be opened and to find.
And he's thinking there might be something bad
right,
in the backpack.
He's just trying to do his job or whatever. He's not part of the bullying, but one thing leads to another. All of this comes out. And so 2 years ago, I mean, this has been going on for a couple of years. Wow. 2 years ago, the principal applies for a grant and to help these kids out rather than, just add to the problem. He's going to be a solution.
Looking for a solution.
Super long story short, this guy, he has a laundromat installed, laundry services, washers and dryers, multiple washers and dryers installed at the school for these kiddos. Yeah. And so now these kids can come in. They've got 5 washers and 5 dryers, and then a growing stock of detergent that's donated from around the country. So they're on the Amazon wish list page. You can actually look them up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Nice.
If you wanted to donate some detergent to that school, you go to this Amazon wish list and look for this school that's in New Jersey, and the name of the school is West Side High. In Newark, New Jersey.
So hopefully that sort of solves the bullying problem, and it also probably empowers these kids because now they're special. I mean, I think now they've got a whatever, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And hopefully that works. That's a nice touch.
It is. The room's open for them every single day from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and it gives them some dignity and some pride back, helps them out.
Neat.
And so, gosh, if every community could be that gracious.
We got I do a lot of work for some of the local schools in the area, and we've actually got a somewhat similar program in Chino Valley. Wes Brownfield, the former principal over at Chino High School, he does some work now with the district. He retired a year or two ago, and he has been working with homeless students in the Chino Valley area, and that was something a lot of people weren't aware of.
Wow.
But when most of us think the homeless community, we're thinking inner cities, families living in cars or on under bridges, roadways, and things.
Right.
But there's a whole nother population of homeless that are between homes, couch surfing, living with grandparents.
Oh, wow.
They have no set home of their own. So he's Wes Brownfield in the Chino Valley Unified School District has reached out to various organizations, different houses of worship and service organizations and things, to make sure, one, that the kids have clean clothes, that they have clothes, that they have lunch and breakfast and things. Mm-hmm. And it's a way to really help out in an area that most of us were unaware of. Yeah. And the amount of kids, families affected by homelessness right in Chino was in the several dozens. And it was something that a lot of people didn't know about. And they have an area at Chino High School. They call it, it's a whole nother subject, Kalen's Closet, named after a student who passed away a number of years ago, Kalen Earl, where parents, kids, students, classmates can donate clothes to this area.
That's great.
So when a student shows up to school and it's, storming out, it's snowing, it's cold, the wind's blowing, they can discreetly walk on over, grab a coat.
It's so difficult because we take it for granted, right? Those of us who aren't involved in that take it for granted. And Ronnie and Heights Church does a fill the bus, a stuff the bus for school supplies, backpacks, and you say, I'm going to go down and spend $10 and fill the bus with a backpack for a kid. But it doesn't mean anything to us, and it's so hard to, and then you have cynics and skeptics, and not in my backyard. And
Yeah.
it is a tough thing all around, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's nice to hear like this principal in Jersey.
Yeah.
Local folks that are doing this, and you don't have to dig too deep. You scratch the surface,
Right.
Especially in this community, you're going to find 50 people that are doing some really good stuff.
That's right.
And then there's those of us who don't.
No, that's right. Who do podcasts?
Yeah, and beg people to use the Amazon link at milehighshow.com. So, commercials are over.
Hey, by the way, you have an Amazon link on your webpage, and the Amazon link, if for those who know or don't know, you have a website, and there's a program with Amazon that they will allow you to put their banner on your website, and then your fans or your supporters can click on that and shop on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then they buy their regular stuff. It doesn't cost them any more money. And then you get 10 cents or 3 cents, or you get a couple cents every purchase.
It's actually pretty good. What you get, it's a percentage.
Right.
And different times of the year. Are you guys on that?
So I was. The reason I brought that up is we did that. And so we signed up, and they said, okay, show us your website, show us your Twitter account, show us everything. We're going to examine it, and you're going to be on parole or whatever you say for 2 weeks. Yeah. And so we put it on there, and we got on the podcast, and we said, hey, if you're going to buy your stuff on Amazon, I started buying my kids turtle food on Amazon. I had a box of 500 worms come to the door. The mail person put it in one of those mailboxes because the worms were getting out of the box, but I'm trying to get our money. And we get an email and said, sorry, you guys aren't big enough. You don't qualify.
We're not legit.
So they turned us off, so we can't do it.
Well, the key is, one, you can't use your own link. That's the key, because they will track it. Like, I can't go on my website, my milehighshow.com website, and use that Amazon link.
Oh, see,
because
Bo,
it
you
tracks
screwed it
back that it was me. So it's just an unallowed purchase. Well, you could still use it, but you're not getting anything.
But why do you get penalized for an unallowed? Yeah, but my mom was shopping on it. My friends were shopping on it. And we got up to, well, this is too personal, but we got up to about, and every $10 you earn, they deposit it, and we got up to about $4.80, and I said, "Wow, look, we've earned $4.80." Right. And then the next day they said, "You're not big enough. You don't apply." So we don't have that on our website anymore. So nobody's shopping.
One of the things I noticed about Amazon is anytime there was a large purchase, and I got a listener in California who does purchasing for his office, and he went in and he ordered about $6,000 worth of stuff.
Wow!
And they flagged it and says, that's not an allowed purchase. And I was like, well, I get the nickels and dimes, but I can't.
But you don't get the $100 bill.
Well, they do at certain times of the year it changes. It's like 3 or 4% of the purchase, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I'll throw them under the bus because we were talking about them off mic. But one of the people that I know very well that shops a lot on Amazon is Matt Hinshaw.
Okay.
And he refuses to use my link.
Why?
Because he orders everything off of his Amazon app. He doesn't do it from his computer. And I don't think
you can't do it on the app? Is that
No, you can't do it on the app. So what I told him to do is just bookmark it on your homepage on your phone.
Yeah.
And he won't do it because he just doesn't like me, I think.
That's what I don't think it was the app. I think he doesn't want to give you the satisfaction of victory there.
And that guy, he's got an entire doll collection. The guy's single. See, I don't know if you know Matt. He used to work for the local paper here. That's where we met each other. Single guy, mid-30s, owns his own home, 3-bedroom home, lives by himself. One whole bedroom is dedicated strictly to his doll collection. He calls them action figures.
Hold on.
No, not that kind of doll. He calls them action figures. They're dolls.
Are you telling me now? I got an 11-year-old daughter. Are you telling me right here, right now, that American Girl doll makes an action figure? Is that what you're saying? Huh? Matt Hinshaw, come on, man. I know better.
Understand why he's single.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why he's single.
Sorry, we love you, Matt. We
just happens to be
one
of them.
Matt Hinshaw couldn't be here today. We only have 3 mics, or we would have included you.
That's for sure. But give us a little of the backstory, Matt. Just we know you're originally from the Bay Area, but can you give us just a quick backstory on who you are?
And also, how did we meet? I mean, let's go back memory lane. But go ahead.
Probably.
How did you get here?
Bo and I probably met. We probably met at the arena, I'm guessing.
Sure, those kind of things.
Something like that. I came from the San Francisco Bay Area, right outside of Oakland, an Oakland suburb.
Yeah.
A very small town in the Bay Area, a small town of 150,000. It was when I was growing up there. Hayward, California. It's between Oakland and San Jose.
Yeah.
So in the evening news, on the weather map, it would go Oakland, San Leandro, skip us, Fremont, to San Jose. We were too small to make the weather map.
Oh, man.
And I moved from there to the metropolis known as Paulden, Arizona.
Oh, how did you
3,900.
Wow.
At an early age, late 70s, early 80s, I started exploring photography and really fell in love with it and got my first job as a news photographer in the Bay Area in 1980, late 80, early 81 as a kid. Mom had to drive me to and from assignments.
Wow.
I didn't tell them how old I was.
Right.
So they were a little surprised when I would show up with Mommy Santos driving me around.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. And was involved in photojournalism and mass media throughout my high school days and on into the late 1990s.
You are a phenomenal photographer.
Well, thank
Matt.
you.
Yeah.
And in the late 90s, when things started shifting from silver and film to digital, I was doing a lot of photojournalism, and I ran a photo lab. I was a co-owner of a photo lab.
Oh, cool.
And it came to the time when we were going to have to invest very heavily into the digital market. And after doing it for, close to 20 years, I was just a little burned out.
Yeah.
Like you get in anything.
Sure.
I just got burned out.
Yeah.
I was recently married, and when I was single and all my buddies worked with me and for me,
Right.
I had a little apartment above the lab, and we hung out there, and I'd spend 20 hours a day at work. And
An extra room filled with dolls. And
no dolls, but we did have a poker room and a wet bar.
That's nice.
Wait a minute.
It was a long time ago. I'm a much better individual now. But then I got married. I got married in 1995, and it just was not conducive. When you love a job so much, and a lot of this same thing with you and Radio
right,
Bo, musicians that I know, where their life is surrounded about what they do and their art and what they do is fun. It's very easy to be at work 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's not very easy to be at work 20 hours a day and be a newlywed.
Yeah.
And I got very burned out. My wife was burned out about what, the way the work schedule was. So we sold the business, and I took a hard left turn and took another job.
Wow.
It was just, I needed health benefits.
Yeah.
Took the first job I could find with health benefits.
Yeah.
And planned on being there about a year. It was in the security industry, an investigative company, who I actually had done some work for as a photographer, and that was my in. I got to work with the guy. And after running a business for a number of years, it became apparent that I was not their normal employee. It was a lot of students working part-time. It was a lot of guys in between jobs. And I... not tooting my own horn or nothing, but I advanced pretty quick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I was there about 9 years and got burned out there. I was running an office. It was a high-tech security company, and we were doing a lot of investigatives for SanDisk, Maxtor, did a lot of work for Intel.
Yeah.
And I started doing the same thing. I was working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
And kind of got fed up and decided I was going to quit or move, and they transferred me to Northern Arizona.
Wow.
And so I packed up.
Where in Northern Arizona?
Well, the company was going to, I guess
Flagstaff?
Central,
Was it Prescott?
I guess.
Was it Phoenix?
I turned in my note. I called my boss, and I said, look, he was out of Denver. They had the whole western region. And I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Everything's turned upside down. It's not healthy. I'm gonna kill myself if I stay here. He goes, have you ever heard of a town called Prescott, Arizona? And this was in summer of 2004.
Okay.
And oddly enough, just by
way.
chance, my brother had moved from Northern California to Prescott that spring.
Wow.
And I said, oddly enough, my brother just moved there. He goes, we're bidding on a job, and we need a guy to run the office, one cornerstone job, and then we'll book a couple other little things off to the side to support it. Keep you at the same salary. You'll be working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You want it. So I looked online.
Yeah.
I bought a house on the internet.
No way.
Sight unseen.
No way.
Oh, that's amazing.
I call my brother. He goes, I said, who's the realtor you used?
Yeah.
He gives me the name. I said, give her this address. And it turned out the house in Paulden was being sold by her company anyway.
Okay.
By her local realty office. I said, go out there with her and check it out.
Yeah.
So he's out there. He calls me up. He goes, hey, it's a nice house. Site-built home. It's on a half an acre.
Nice.
And I said,
coming
okay.
from California,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah,
And
that's huge.
I said, tell her to send me the paperwork. And he goes, well, you can't. When are you going to come out and look at it? I said, no, just have her FedEx it. I'll sign it, have it notarized. He goes,
That's gutsy.
You got to look at it. I said, do me a
Right.
favor. And he puts her on the phone. She goes, I can't do this. I trust my brother. Give him the phone.
Yep.
I said, look up. He goes, what do you mean? I go, were you in the living room? He goes, yeah. I said, look up. And he goes, okay, I'm looking up.
Does it have a roof?
I said, what do you see? And he goes, I see the roof. I said, can you see the sky? He goes, no, I'm inside. I said, if you can't see the sky from the living room at the price they're asking, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
So I bought it sight unseen.
That's great.
And moved my wife 900 miles away from home where we knew nobody because my brother was in Prescott. So that was a tough sell already.
Yeah.
Moving to an area she knew nobody. I knew nobody. We bought a house on the internet. We move in. 2 weeks after we get here, I get a call from my boss, and he goes, hey, that job we were bidding on in Prescott, it's not going through. I need you to move to Phoenix.
Oh.
So I turned in my 2 weeks' notice. So I moved my wife 900 miles away from home. We buy a house unseen. We're living in an area we don't know anybody.
Right.
And I'm unemployed in 2 weeks. It was an interesting 2004.
Yeah,
so you have a background in photography.
Yeah.
That's
my
So you obviously got work here in town, right? Well, so were you working for the newspaper? Were you doing
I started freelancing
outside stuff, freelance stuff?
I started freelancing for the local paper here in 2005. And since I was in security investigation, when we moved out here, that Walmart over on Gale Gardner was just opening.
Okay.
And so I applied for a loss prevention, and they said, well, we'd love to have you. Looking at my resume, I ran a security office for, 9 years, and we'd love to have you, but we do not hire anybody in loss prevention from the outside. We only move them up from the employees. That was the process.
So then did you ask, do you have any jobs in produce?
No, but oddly enough, now having been away from a photo lab for 9 years, they said, well, what other interest do you have? Because I only had security stuff on my resume. And I said, well, I used to run a photo lab. And they go, we need a photo manager. Are you interested?
Wow.
Do you know anything about these new printers? I said, of course.
Yeah.
So they had me fill out the application. I went in and did the drug test. They did the background. They hired me. And then I called my buddy who in California who still owns a lab. I said, hey, you ever hear of these machines? He goes, yeah, they're great. I go, good. Send me every cheat sheet you got.
Yeah.
And in about 3 days, I had to learn how to assemble a machine.
Man.
They got delivered. I set them up, and I enjoyed it. And then about a year later, they came to me and said, well, that spot's open. We'll move you into loss prevention. I said, I really like this.
I don't want it anymore.
I had got back into photography a little bit. I was working with customers, telling them about cameras. And again, not tooting my own horn, but knowing a little bit more about cameras than your average 1 hour photo guy. Yeah. And in the meantime, had started freelancing with the local paper here. I started with them in 2005, and then was basically working for them full time.
That's great.
Up until 2013.
And now you're doing photos for stories. You're doing photos for sporting events. You're all over the place.
I started writing a lot more because they brought me in as a photographer and reporter. And then after a number of years, that just kind of
worked its way.
I got kind of You go through those things where you get a little itchy.
Yeah.
And in 2013, I was running a photo studio as well. We had one in Chino, and working for the paper full time. So kind of 2 full-time jobs, and I kind of got myself back in that habit. I kind of got in again.
Day,
Right.
And in the course of that, after 15 years of marriage, my wife wakes me up after a Sundogs game one night.
Okay. That you were working at until 10 o'clock at night.
Well, I'd get out of the arena about 2 a.m.
Okay.
Game's over at 9:30. I'd edit, get everything done, leave the arena about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I get home. She's asleep. I go to sleep, and I wake up about 2 hours later to a sort of upset woman at the foot of my bed. It was my wife, by the way.
Okay.
Sitting at the foot of the bed, and she's just staring at me. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Who died? Did we get a phone call?
Right.
And she hands me one of those drugstore pregnancy tests.
Oh, wow.
15 years of marriage. I'm in my mid-40s, and we find out we're going to be parents.
Wow.
So by the time my son was about 3 years old, I had realized, working 2 full-time jobs, I'm seeing him for a couple hours a day.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I just got fed up, and I did the same kind of thing. I quit the newspaper, had no idea what I was going to do. My wife was unemployed at the time. She was a full-time mom.
Yeah.
And I came home one day and said, I can't do this anymore. We'll figure something out. But, by the way, I quit today.
Yeah.
And she was sort of happy because she knew I was getting burnt out.
But
and
scared,
enough,
too.
Yeah, but sure enough, it worked out. She ended up getting a full-time job. I was a stay-at-home dad for about 6 months, not too much longer. And then one of my beats was the town of Chino Valley. That's what I covered for the paper.
Yeah.
And the newspaper didn't backfill me for quite some time. And the town was having trouble getting stories covered, getting things, town council and stuff covered. So they called me up and said, hey, can you write up a press release for us? How much would you charge us to kind of do that for us? They don't have a PIO, excuse me, public information officer.
Yep.
So they said, we kind of let our department heads handle their own, but we really need some stuff out. Can you come in and work with us for a couple of days next week? It was a one-off deal. And I did it. The then town manager called me back a week later and says, can we just like contract you? We're not going to hire you. They don't have a position for it, but we'd like to contract you. We got to rebuild our website. We have no social media presence whatsoever. So over about 6 months, the contract got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it's.
And you're still doing it?
Still as a contract. I'm the contracted PIO for the town of Chino.
That's fantastic.
And doing press releases, all their social media. We did a web redesign for them. And in the course of that, they asked me to host a community radio station for them, a radio show at one of our local radio stations.
So you're representing the town of Chino Valley in a brokered show or whatever, and you're doing the radio broadcast on the radio,
doing that once a month for them, having a good time. And in the course of that, one of my guests, one of the guests said, "Hey, you know what? This is you host this a little different than the other folks that I've sat with,
right?"
You ever think about doing a podcast? And I'm a podcast fan. I was listening to him.
Right.
And I said, I don't know if I had the time or whatever. It turns out this gentleman, this guest, backed me. And he says, you're talking about town government and stuff, which is fine. You make it fun. You make it interesting. But honestly, that's not. I have no interest in politics whatsoever. Right. And every once in a while, I'd sneak in like a local musician or something to the show.
Yeah.
Hey, bring your guitar. We'll talk about your next coming gig. We'll let you play a couple of songs, and then I'll ask you if you like paying taxes. Yeah, that kind of work.
That's a great model.
So this guy went back and listened to some of those shows and said, "You need to sit with like musicians and artists and stuff."
That's great.
So he backed me. He sponsored me. I launched the podcast Mile High Show in 2014, and we just posted episode 180 something.
That's fantastic.
Today.
So tell us a little bit about the show. It's an arts and entertainment interview, but you actually go to them.
You do it live. You do it in a bar setting. You do it in a coffee setting.
Coffee shop, restaurant.
And you hear the ambiance in the background.
And you can tell, like, if you haven't listened to it, then you need to connect with it. We're anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and
Podbean.
Of course, there's Podbean is my hosting company, and of course, all the episodes are listed there at milehighshow.com. The archives there. And that Amazon link that you can click.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's truly and honestly, it's an excuse for me to get out. Because, Bo, you know this.
We like talking.
You're talking, you're having fun. But whenever you were at shows, you were emceeing shows, introducing musical acts or comedy acts, whatever plays. You're there, but you're there working. It's a job, but it's still you're working. I covered musicians for the paper and for other things and covered the hockey games and all that stuff, but it was always work. Mm-hmm. But now I get to go and kind of hang out and talk to people and really, instead of just photographing people or interviewing them for a written word, I get to just sit down and have a conversation.
Right.
So truly and honestly, it's a way for me to go out and goof off and make a buck or two.
Cool.
So I don't have a good question, but tell me, so you've been doing this for at least 4 or 5 years. I mean, going on 5. 4
years this December. I launched it in December of 14.
We started 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we've got a ways to go. No.
That beard was not 3 weeks ago.
No, that's for sure.
So who are some? What are some of the highlights? Do you have highlights? Lowlights. I mean, do you have any memorable stories?
A friend of yours that both of you guys have worked with in the past, I'm sure, Ted Leonard. He was. I want to say,
I love Ted.
The 5th or 6th episode, somewhere in the top 10 and top 10 of my interviews. Because Ted, if you don't know Ted Leonard, owner of Prescott Pro Sound, former musician himself, anytime there is a big event in Yavapai County, Ted Leonard is providing your sound, your stage, your lighting. Yeah. And besides being just a dynamite guy and a great guy, he is hilarious, and he is just
he's
character.
A riot, that's for sure.
Filled with passion. He loves people. He loves to talk to you. He's funny.
So him and I met up at the Hotel St. Michael's for breakfast one morning about 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And we ordered breakfast. I hit record on the recorders, and we just talked and ate for about an hour, and it was a blast.
So do you get looks? When you're doing this, I mean, I
get looks walking down the street.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. Do you get cat calls? No, I don't mean that. So you say to a manager of an establishment, "Hey," and the manager says, "Hey, why don't you come in and interview my guy or my band or whatever? Use my restaurant here." So that's settled. You've made that agreement. But when you're doing that, do people at the other table or do people walking into the establishment go, what are those? Look, there's a bunch of wires and stuff. What are those two guys doing?
Exactly. And not only do customers, but the wait staff will come over. Waiters, waitresses, bartenders, they'll come over. Hey, what are you guys doing? Or they'll walk up and be really quiet. Do I got to whisper? No, talk. Because we're going to talk about where we are. Yeah. And if just the other day, Maddie and Sean and I were recording an intro at one of the local establishments, and this lady just walked over. What are you guys doing? So we talked to her for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Did you leave that in the intro?
Oh, yeah, of course.
What are you guys doing?
We just left it
the Mile High Show.
That's awesome.
But typically what I'll do is also before I go out and record, if I know I'm going to be at, Bob's Coffee Shop or whatever it is, I'll tweet that out. I'll put it on Facebook. Yeah. And I'm going to be sitting down with Bo Woods, and we're going to be talking about his radio career at about noon at so-and-so. Right, come on by.
And then people show up and can kind of be like an audience right there. That's so cool.
And we have had anywhere from nobody showing up to 1 or 2 people show up, 3 or 4. We've done a couple of live shows where we've had 60, 70 people show up. And it's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
And it kind of goes into how the show's structured or not structured, I guess. I don't have too many rules on my podcast. It's kind of
just free form. And
I've joked around. I'm going to change it from the Mile High Show to Tangents because we kind of go all over the place. But one of the things that I really try and do is keep it as radio friendly on conversation and language as possible. Yeah. For one, that's how I keep it at my home. For years I didn't. Right. And it really made me think about talking. Because instead of dropping this word, I've actually got to think of a word that works. Right. Yeah. And I don't want to be the parent whose 5-year-old was getting sent home from daycare because dropping the F-bomb.
Right. So that reminds me, Dennis Leary. You remember that bit that Dennis Leary did, a comedian? I always make Ron and I love comedians, so we always make little references. Dennis Leary wrote that song. ASS.
Oh yes.
HOLE.
Yeah.
And he said so he's doing a stand up, and he does a song called that. And what you just said reminded me. So he said, I get a call from the principal, and he said, my son's at the principal's office. Come in. So Mr. Leary, your son was singing this song in school, and we don't think it's appropriate. Do you know that? Know it. I wrote it.
And it paid for the swimming pool out back.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the there's a lot of reasons, it's why I want to keep it as radio friendly as possible. Right. But one of those reasons is when I do approach a coffee shop, and not so much in a bar or a comedy club. We recorded in green rooms and things down in the valley and in LA. But when I'm approaching somebody and saying, hey, we want to come and record a podcast, we're going to invite an audience, one of the first questions they ask is, do we have to separate you from the rest of the store or the restaurant? And I don't want to have to say, well, you know what, here's a sample of my shows. You could listen to episode 12, 95, and 103.
But don't listen to the other ones.
I want it as open as possible.
Yeah.
And I want anybody to show up.
Right.
Oftentimes, my now 8-year-old son will be with me.
Yeah.
And he'll be sitting down.
Which is so great. Yeah.
And it's nice when we can come in and get a bit bigger audience, ideally. We haven't got there yet, but ideally we can get a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But we can also go anywhere and record and not worry about, are we going to be blackballed from here? Are we going to be able to come back here again?
Yeah.
Can anybody listen to this? And as far as our show, anybody can listen to it.
Yeah.
They don't want to, but they can if they want, if they chose to.
So it's Matt Santos with Mile High Show. It's a podcast that's been going on for more than 4 years. And you're talking about family-friendly stuff, but I'm going to change the subject just a little bit. And I'm gonna say maybe we take what you just said and twist it a little bit. Do you have two truths and a lie? For us, we play two truths and a lie,
yeah,
and if you can give us some outrageous statements, two are true and one is a lie. If you can do that, then we can say no, you're not family friendly because you did skinny dip in the Pacific Ocean.
My family is loaded with liars, man. I think the key to a great lie is if I tell you I've got $1 million in the trunk of my car. You're not going to believe that.
Right. Yeah.
The key to a good lie is
he's analyzing
it. They're just enough to be believable.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. See, he's the same that you were on this, Bo. When we did this, you turned into De Niro in Meet the Parents with the CIA. They've got the lie detector hooked up, and
we did two truths and a lie, right? And you give three statements and one's a lie, and you're supposed to figure out which one it is. So one of his is, I spent the day with
Patrick Swayze in a Speedo.
Patrick Swayze in a Speedo. Okay, that's one of his statements, and so I have to determine if that's a true or lie. But I can't play the game like that. I go, you said Patrick Swayze. I spent the day with Patrick Swayze in a Speedo. Wait a minute, were you in the Speedo?
That's what I was going to
see. So I'm tearing it, and he goes, Bo, just guess. Shut up.
That could be sitting on my couch normally watching Roadhouse.
Right.
Yeah, I spent the day in a Speedo with...
Who was in the Speedo? He goes, you're overanalyzing. I said, no, I need to determine.
We got our first Roadhouse reference. That made me happy right there.
I wish I would have known that.
All right, so you asked me about this the other night.
Two truths and a lie.
And I got to thinking... And let me just run them out here and see if I had to jot a note.
And so, for people that haven't played the game before, Matt's going to give us three statements, and two of them are true, one of them's a lie, and we've got to pick or guess which one's the.
And this is going to be hard.
The lie.
Now, do you know what car surfing is?
Car surfing?
No.
You stand on top of a car.
Oh yeah,
like
on the trunk or like Teen Wolf on the van. Anyways,
like on the roof.
Yeah.
So you're standing and the car's moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one.
I think that's a lie because you had to explain it to us.
A lie would be that I paid my way through college as a ballerina. That's kind of out there. No, at 3 years old.
But Matt Hinshaw, we can't. We would be stumped on that one. Oh, he's just getting beat up. Go
Poor
ahead.
Matty. 3 years old, I started my career as a car surfer.
3 years old, he started his career as a car surfer.
Career stretching it.
All right.
Second, my mom once sold me for a tank of gas.
Wow.
Rented. I guess rented would be the key there.
Okay. Wow.
I took one of the last known photos of Cary Grant.
Ooh. Okay. See, that's brilliant work right there, Matt. Because that's.
But that's the thing with Lisa. She said I was on the football team. And I said,
I heard that. And
I said, well, you could be on top of the football team in a pile. You could be on it like chewing them out.
Now,
no, I mean like chewing them out. I'm on the team.
Oh, okay.
Or you could be. But that's the same thing. See, I'm going to do the same thing with. I took the last Cary Grant photo. If I paraphrase that right.
Sort of.
Oh, go ahead. Say it again.
We've got
one of the last known photographs of Cary Grant.
Took one of the last. So he could have been in a museum, broken into the museum, and taken it. He took one of the last.
overanalyzing,
not.
Bo.
I will tell you, I
overthinking.
was not wearing a Speedo at the time.
Okay, so we've got the car surfing. We've got his mom renting him off.
And he's a professional photographer, and
a
I don't believe
tank of
number 3.
gas.
I don't believe number 3, but he's a
And
professional
Cary
photographer.
Grant. I know that one. I could see.
Cary
I
Grant.
can see the Cary Grant and the photographer
he's
because
gonna-
he's a photographer.
But maybe Cary Grant was at a trade show or
and
something.
we know from
was,
what he was telling us off air. I mean, he got to photograph Robin Williams.
Yes.
And, oh man.
and I believe the first 2, which doesn't
Car
bode well.
surfing at 3, and then I'm gonna. Can I make my guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then you can. So I'm gonna say
I
the
don't wanna
lie
lose.
is the mom
Renting him.
with renting him out for a tank of gas.
No, she did that. I don't even know her. I don't even know her. But there's 100 ways you could do that. Hey, go mow their lawn or whatever. I mean, do a chore for them, and they can loan me some money.
That's true.
And pay it off. There's 100 ways you can do it.
Yeah, Matt's gonna stump us, Bo. Matt's gonna stump us.
I'm gonna go with the obvious. The lie.
The obvious. There's no obvious. Okay.
He's a photographer by trade.
All right.
The lie is he did not take the last known photo of Cary Grant. So he had nothing to do with Cary Grant. He did car surf, and his mom pimped him out.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Do we have come on, make up a sound effect for this, even if we don't have one. Drum roll. Do we have a drum roll?
Drum roll. Okay.
And so
hold on. Are we going to tell how are we going to do it?
Well,
Backwards?
the lie is
Well, I guess we could say if anybody got it right, if anybody was a correct guess.
Yeah.
Ronnie was correct.
What was it?
I was correct.
What did you say?
I said that the lie was that
His
the mom
did not rent him out.
did not. We need a applause or a bomb or a ding or a to clap or a
But he got it right.
No, I know. It should have been.
Now, how are we on time?
Yeah, let's go.
Are we?
Yeah, who
can we-
cares?
okay. Yeah, we're good.
There is a kernel of truth in every lie. I like to say.
yeah,
And there's a
that's
kernel
true.
of truth in all of these. At 3 years old, I we lived on a corner,
Yeah.
and our crossing guard. Well, do they even have crossing guards anymore?
yeah.
John was the crossing guard at our corner, and he had an old car with the big, huge wings and the big metal bumper.
yeah.
Yeah, this is 1967, 69.
The Dodge Plymouth or
Big old
Duster
huge,
or
whatever it was,
something.
big
The
huge.
boat.
And I would get to go out and play with John. That's what
Yeah.
my mom would let me do before I was in kindergarten. So I was about 3 years old.
Right.
And our game was that every day I would give him a push, and that's how he got home. So he would stick his head out the car and go, "Okay, give me a push," and I'd push his car. And then one day he was in a hurry, and I went to push it, and he started driving away, and I got scared, so I grabbed on,
Oh, no.
and I rode his car on the trunk about 3 blocks
Oh, man.
before I rolled off. And the last thing I remember is the mailman going, "Hey, here's a kid." And then I woke up in my front room with firemen standing over me because I rolled off and knocked myself out on the curb, on a
man.
concrete curb. This is in the
Wow,
suburbs.
Sure.
Wow.
That's what we did growing up.
Yeah, gosh. And so then you probably learned that since you apparently also started car surfing at 3.
That was
a true thing.
That
You-
was true. That was,
Wow.
and then because I'm stupid, I did it multiple times in high school and things.
Well, you had experience.
Yeah, I was the only one with experience.
Okay, then Cary Grant, because I'm a
Okay.
huge movie buff, and even the classics, and there's
Yeah.
the icons. Cary Grant is
Yeah.
an icon.
When
The gold
I
standard.
was, I used to be a student teacher for a photojourn class at a community college in California. And I'll have to go back and time check it because I did it over a period of a number of years. I don't remember
Right.
what year it was.
Right.
But in the big theater, kind of like at Yavapai College, they got the big
Yep.
Yeah.
the big theater, and they would show movies. They would have, when I was a kid, Jack Benny came and did a
No way.
did a show.
Oh, man.
This was the school, Chabot College, where Tom Hanks went to junior
Oh,
college.
yeah.
So when he was at his height or is coming up at the Bosom
Buddies, yeah.
Yeah.
he came back to the school and did a version of Charlie's Aunt. We went and saw him and got his autograph.
wow.
And stuff. Just before he died, Cary Grant was doing tours through colleges and things
yeah,
where
I
he would
saw that.
they would show clips of his
Yep,
movies.
yep.
He would give a discourse, and then he would do a little Q&A.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when they announced he was coming to Chabot College, I got a hold of his
Yeah.
publicist. I said, "We want to do a write-up, and
Right.
I'd love to go in and photograph it." They said,
Right.
"No photographs. You can send a reporter. No photographs." Now, this is fairly soon before he died. And he did not want his photograph taken. He just said no. Whenever they would send out older
Right.
photos. And
Right.
No photographs, no cameras allowed. Wow. So I called, please let us go. I kept calling.
Yeah.
And finally I used the thing, well, this is for a college paper. Nobody reads it anyway. This is before internet and things, So finally they said, okay, fine, just you're going to have like 5 minutes during the sound check.
Yeah.
So I walk into this dark theater in the middle of the afternoon. He was going to do the show later that night.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and they're playing his movie clips on the, the little clip reel on the big screen. So you're hearing, Katharine Hepburn, and you're hearing Cary Grant.
A montage.
And it's going. So I'm just sitting there, and I got my camera out, and I'm watching this, and then it goes dark, and then you can hear some of the audio going through, and they had some like clips from news and stuff. And then I hear, "Are you ready?" And it's in that iconic voice. And I'm just like, "Well, what's coming up? Are you ready?" And it's like, what clip is this? And then I hear, "Excuse me, are you ready?" And I look, and it's Cary Grant sitting about 15 feet away from me, talking on the mic.
Is he talking to you or just the guys?
Yeah, he's asking me, "Are you ready? Come take the picture." You got. So I walk up, and back in the film days, and a manual camera and everything, I pull it out, I click 2 shots, and then go to look at my settings, and he goes, "Okay, thank you very much," and he walks away.
You were setting up
2 or 3 frames. Have no idea if they're set right, and it's not, pre-digital. You can't look at the back to see.
Right.
And he walks away, and then I look over at his publicist. I go, I was
warming up.
Wow.
So I go back to the lab, run it, and I had 1 usable frame.
No way.
Oh, good
for
you.
A few months later, he passed, and every photo that was ran was of at least 5 years previous.
The old ones, yeah.
So I started doing a little research, what you could do back then. You can't get a whole lot, it was pre-internet.
Right.
And since then, I've looked for photos past that, and I can't really find any.
You got
so
it.
It's not, I wouldn't say the last, but it's got to be the one of the last few.
Sure. Unbelievable.
Because
That's
he just wouldn't let people take his picture.
Yeah.
And I've got it. I've posted up on Facebook. So obviously you don't read my Facebook page. No. I thought we were friends.
No, thanks very much, man.
Now, the gas station was not me. My sister, she's older than me. We were coming home. I don't know where we were coming from, and my mom was out of gas and forgot her wallet. So she left my then 13-year-old sister at a gas station.
As collateral.
Now, this is the makings of a really cheesy after-school special, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
But my mom actually left my sister Meg at a gas station, got gas, went home and got her wallet and came back. And I'm fairly certain if this gets out, how many listeners you got? Anybody from DES listening?
No, not now.
Because at however old she is now, 60, my sister could file for some lost issues. My mom's in her 80s now. I don't know if she has. I don't think they can put her away. They wouldn't put away
statute of limitations. Right?
They wouldn't put away an 82-year-old woman for child abandonment, would they?
No.
But yeah, there was a kernel of truth in there. It just didn't happen to me. My poor sister sold for a tank of probably at the time 39 cents a gallon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
She needs to up her value. Go for diesel next time.
Obviously, you've never met my sister.
So, Matt, thank you very much. Matt Santos of Mile High Podcast.
Real quick, if I can put one more plug in.
Yes.
Through my photography work, I have covered a comedy festival. You guys say you're comedy fans. A comedy festival in Flagstaff every year for the past 3 or 4 years, the Big Pine Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
You're familiar with that, aren't you?
Yeah.
It happens typically in the fall. It'll be September 19th through 22nd this year.
Okay.
And the Mile High Show has been chosen as one of their featured podcasts for the festival.
That's
so
fantastic.
We'll be there at the big stage and having a ball. BigPineComedyFestival.com is where you can find out information on that. Nick DiPaolo is one of the headliners this year.
Oh, that's great.
But that's September 19th through 22nd, and we'll be doing a live podcast at the Southside Tavern in Flagstaff on the 19th. So check out BigPineComedyFestival.com.
That's great. And then tell us again where we can listen to the show.
MileHighShow.com. Awesome. Links to everything right on there. Social media,
Great.
Spotify, all that stuff, and all the back episodes.
Awesome. Matt, you're such a joy and really a gift to the community now, all the people you're connecting with. And I just met you, and I can see why everybody's drawn
He's infectious.
to you.
He really is.
He really is.
And
It's a real... Yeah,
he's got chicken pox. Yeah, I don't know what that means. He's infectious.
Oh, man.
Hey, thanks to Prescott Realty for sponsoring the Ronnie and Bo Show. Call them today, 928-499-8700. Don't wait until you have to sell your house or until you're kicked out of your apartment and you have to buy a house. Go ahead and reach out to them. Ask them some questions. They'd love to get to know you. They'd love to work with you.
Yep, they're at PrescottRealty.com, or you can email them at info@PrescottRealty.com. 2 offices to serve you, too, one in downtown Prescott and another in Williamson Valley.
Thanks, Matt, for being on the Ronnie and Bo Show.
Thank you, guys.
Matt.
It was a blast. Well, that was it. Thank you for tuning in for the Mile High Show and the Ronnie and Bo Show. Thank you to Ron and Bo for letting me piggyback on your podcast this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out RonnieandBoShow.com. And don't forget, we mentioned it there at the end of the episode. This episode also brought to you by the Big Pine Comedy Festival taking place in Flagstaff, September 19th through 22nd. All the information is at BigPineComedyFestival.com, including our Mile High Show being featured as a featured podcast on the festival this year at the Southside Tavern on the 19th. We will be recording live in front of an audience. So stop on by Flagstaff on the 19th. It's a Wednesday afternoon. I believe we are there. Here, let me pull it up. There. We will be at 5 p.m. at the Southside Tavern in Flagstaff. The Mile High Show podcast recorded live in front of an audience for the Big Pine Comedy Festival. Hope to see you there.
I've been around the dial so many times, but you're not there. Somebody tells me that you've been taken off the air. Well, you were my favorite DJ since I can't remember when. You always played the best record. You never followed any trend. FM, AM, where are you? You gotta be out there somewhere on the dial. On the dial. Are you ready? We're going round the dial. Are you listening? Around the dial. Are you drifting? Around the dial. Are you searching? Around the dial. FM, AM, where are you? You gotta be out there somewhere on the dial. On the dial. Where did you go, Mr. DJ? Or did they take you off the air? Was it something that you said to the corporation guys upstairs? It wasn't the pressure. You never sounded down. It couldn't be the ratings. You had the best in town. Somehow I'm gonna find you, track you down. Gonna keep on searching around and around and around and around and around and around. Around the dial, the best in town, who never let us down. Why the critics kept on knocking you, you just kept on rocking round the dial. Round the dial. I've been searching for you on my radio. This tiny station really must have gone underground. Somebody said you had a minor nervous breakdown. Was it something that you heard or something that you saw that made you